5 starts now.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Mark Bradshaw. The surging COVID cases are causing a crisis in the classroom. This map behind me shows all the Green Country school districts forced to send many of their students home for distance learning. But officials are saying the virus is only focused on the existing problem, staff shortages. News Channel 8's James King live tonight after talking with State School Superintendent Joy Hoffmeister. James, is there anything they're trying to do to keep the schools open?
Well, Mark, nearly every district in Green Country has been impacted by this most recent Omicron surge, something leaders say they did see coming. But the unfortunate news is that until we're past it, there's not much schools can do to keep kids in the classroom. With shortages of teachers and support staff, it doesn't take much for schools to be pushed to distance learning as Omicron surges. Dozens of schools virtual until next Tuesday.
All teachers want to be in person as long as it's safe. This is how we've always felt. There's no substitute for it.
A poll on our social media showing 57% of people don't think schools should stay in person. Some saying there's no other option, and officials agree.
There's no conspiracy. This is not teachers' unions. This is not some agenda. This is folks calling in sick because they can't come to work.
We do not have the substitutes or volunteers to be able to step in.
With no remedy in sight for the short term, Hoffmeister says they're providing schools with COVID tests amid the shortage.
Our department has available to all of our schools that are a part of our grant $100 million in resources for those tests.
And in the long term, there's hope that they can end the staffing struggles.
When there is a shortage, they give perks and they give pay raises. But in education, they just lower the standards, which in turn hurts the children. So it's time to start giving the perks and all the things that will draw people back into the profession.
I've filed a bill that would pay a stipend to graduates of our statewide education program. So that if somebody went through one of our teaching colleges and came out with an education degree and went to teach in an Oklahoma school, we would give them periodic stipends.
Now, Waldron, who is a former teacher himself, says that he's hopeful that once we get past this surge, there will be more stability in keeping kids in the classroom. But until then, it will be more of the same. From Lookout Mountain, James King, News Channel 8.
And we have a full list of schools going virtual over the next few days on our website at KTUL.com. Across America, communities are demanding accountability from schools concerning classroom content, COVID protocols, safety, and much more. That's the focus of our new Crisis in the Classroom series. If you have a concern you want us to look into, call our tip line. Number is 918-236-7471 or email us at news@KTUL.com. Now to our latest COVID numbers from the State Health Department. There are more than 5,000 new positive cases today. Right now, there are close to 65,000 active cases statewide. And the CDC reports another 16 COVID-related deaths here in Oklahoma. Almost 1,120 patients are being treated in our hospitals. 32 of them are children.
Now, let's go outside on the News Channel 8 weather deck, sponsored by Wade's RV.
Temperatures in Green Country responded to the sunshine. Now, the winds were a little stronger today, but here on the weather deck, it feels fantastic. Take a look at our ABES Roofing live cam at a couple of different locations. From fine airport parking, the upper right, that's Tulsa International Airport. In the lower right, Tulsa Transit Denver Avenue Station. Looking downtown at our beautiful skyline, the Coweta Transmitter. And from the Price Tower, Bartlesville also enjoying sunshine today. And the temperature in Bartlesville, yeah, we'll take all that we can get. 59 degrees, normal's 48. In Eufaula, it's 55 degrees. So they've dropped about 2 degrees since we were out here an hour ago, but the wind's still in check across the region. Out to our west, still pretty nice temperatures. Temperatures in the mid-60s out towards the Woodward area in far northwest Oklahoma. For tonight, we'll drop down into the 40s, in fact, even 30s coming up for early tomorrow morning. Things are going to get a little interesting, especially as we get into late in the week towards Friday night and into Saturday. Then we could see a bit of a wintry mix. Parts of northeast Oklahoma could even see some light snow quickly as that storm system moves out of the area for Saturday. Coming up, we're going to talk about that and the forecast for Martin Luther King Jr. Day. All that in a few minutes.
Tulsa police are investigating the city's third homicide of the year. This happened in an apartment near Tecumseh and North Harvard. Police say a man was outside just before 9 this morning when he noticed his neighbor's door was open.
At this time, we don't have any kind of evidence that there was any sort of burglary of some sort or any kind of home invasion. We do know something had happened in there.
Detectives aren't sure how the man died, but say they're investigating his death as a homicide. They say the victim was a younger adult male, but haven't publicly identified him at this time. They also haven't released any information on the search for the suspect. News Channel 8 is a way for you to keep track of crime in your neighborhood. It's called Alert Nest. All you need to do is plug in an address, and Alert Nest will show you all the latest crimes in that area. Just go to KTUL.com and look for the Alert Nest banner. It's free, and so is the Alert Nest mobile app. Several high water bills has a Tulsa man steamed. Jim McDowell lives near 101st and Yale. Last September, he got a $275 water bill, but after the city crews checked his water meter and gave it the all clear, his monthly bills continue to rise. And McDowell says he has no choice but to pay each month.
I will guarantee you, if I don't pay the bill on a monthly basis, they'll be out and shut my water off.
So how much water does the city say McDowell used each month, and what's the city's response? News Channel 8's Michelle Dixon takes a look tonight at 6 o'clock. Now, businesses in the Claremore are dealing with construction for months, and today some progress finally made. News Channel 8's Jameson Kiefover spoke to businesses about the biggest changes that construction has caused.
Since July, Highway 20 in Claremore has been shut down, one lane of traffic at a time, inching along as the asphalt and concrete is ripped out.
Which has caused a lot of people to, avoid this road, go all the way around, or, go through Owasso or something like that. So it definitely does affect it.
January marks 1 year in Claremore for Drip Coffee Lab, but it's not much of a celebration, with half of their time there blocked from customers. Big plans for their first year turned into just trying to get customers into their shop.
You don't have as much ability to, try new things or do events and stuff like that.
Down the street, Navitac Outdoors was already impacted by shipping delays during the pandemic when the construction started. Now semis having to take back roads to make deliveries to the store.
I think a lot of them aren't really wanting to come right now because those side roads they have to use to get in here are, little almost one-lane roads.
He said those side streets, though, are the only way they keep going.
Obviously, it's not good for us and it hurts, but we're just so lucky to have that alternate route, because if we didn't have that alternate route, we probably would be out of business.
But finally, some hope today. Crews pouring concrete, and soon Navitac will have their driveway again.
Once construction is done on this side of the road, they'll move over to the other lanes. That will also impact businesses, but they don't have alternate routes that customers can use to get there.
The crews will have to leave those entry points open, according to the State Department of Transportation. ODOT says the Highway 20 project is expected to be done by spring. In Claremore, Jameson Kiefover, News Channel 8.
This morning, crews working a fire in North Tulsa made a surprising discovery. After putting out the flames at the vacant house near Pine and the Tisdale Parkway, firefighters were cleaning up the scene when they spotted a dog peeking out from all the debris. The animal seems to be okay and is being cared for by animal control right now, but unfortunately, firefighters say several puppies did not survive the fire. They got the call to the house around 6 this morning. There's no indication anyone was living there, although there was a lot of junk and debris on the property. No word on how the fire started, but the house is gutted. With the midterm elections now less than 10 months away, President Biden is making his biggest push yet to advocate for passage of a new federal voting rights bill. He's in Georgia today, a state where critics say some voting rights have been curtailed, calling for changes to the Senate's filibuster rules so a bill can be passed with just 50 Democratic votes. But not everyone in his own party is on board with his message. ABC's Ike Ajanchi is in Washington with the latest.
President Biden in Georgia today giving his latest pitch for a new federal voting rights law, saying this is a defining moment in American history.
History's going to judge it. It's that consequential.
The president calling for the protection of what he calls the bedrock of American rights. But several Atlanta area voting rights groups told the president to stay in D.C., telling the Atlanta Journal-Constitution that anything less than a finalized plan to pass voting rights in the House and Senate is insufficient and unwelcome. Several of those groups vowing to boycott Biden's speech today. This will be Biden's third speech on voting rights. It comes after he told ABC's David Muir he'd be open to making a one-time change to the Senate's filibuster rule that requires 60 votes to pass most legislation.
I support making an exception on voting rights for the filibuster.
West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin helped write and supported the Freedom to Vote Act. In part, it would make Election Day a federal holiday, guarantee the right to mail-in vote, and require Justice Department approval to change state voting laws. It's currently being blocked by Senate Republicans.
The Senate Democratic leader is trying to bully his own members into breaking their word, breaking the Senate.
But the nonpartisan Brennan Center for Justice says 19 states, including Georgia, have passed a total of 34 new restrictive voting laws since the 2020 election, many of which are fueled by lies claiming widespread election fraud. And despite election security officials saying the 2020 elections were the most secure in the country's history. And the Brennan Center says 13 more restrictive laws are in the works, including one in Georgia that would ban the use of ballot boxes altogether. Ike Ajachi, ABC News, Washington.
After the break, colleges across the country starting off the spring semester online. How some students now saying it's impacting their education. And we're keeping an eye on your evening commute. This is a live look at the Broken Arrow Expressway traffic. As you can see, moving nicely. The sun about ready to go down after a beautiful winter day.
In the weather, we'll talk about cloud cover and an opportunity of seeing a little bit of rain, could even mix it with some light snow. But don't get excited. I'll tell you when that could happen and where. The complete forecast is coming up.
And tonight at 6, a U.S. Supreme Court decision on the McGirt ruling, what it means, and the response from local tribes.